Hello class 7th, good morning to all. I hope all of you are fit and fine. Today we will discuss chapter number 5 of the book Honeycomb. Name of the chapter is Quality. This chapter is about the profession of a shoemaker. In the beginning you can see a question is given, can a shoemaker be called an artist? Yes. If he has the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist and the same respect for it too, then he may be called an artist. Means to be an artist, one should have the skills and he should have pride in his trade like other artists, as well as he should have respect for this skill. Then he will be an artist. So shoemaker is also called an artist. Mr. Gessler, a German shoemaker settled in London, is a perfect artist. Read this story to see how he devotes his life to his art. So here we are going to discuss about Mr. Gessler. Actually he was a German shoemaker and he had got settled in London and he was a perfect artist. You will see whenever he speaks, he will speak in German. His pronunciation will be as a German is speaking. Okay, the tone is different from others who go to him. Let's see, the chapter goes like this. The quality, here the chapter title Quality refers to the quality of shoes which were made by Mr. Gessler. The narrator is telling us, I knew him from the days of my extreme youth, because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. Narrator tells us that he knew him from the days of extreme youth, means when he was a young boy, he knows Mr. Gessler from those days. Because Mr. Gessler used to make narrator's father's boots, and Gessler lived with his elder brother in his shop. It was a small by street. This shop was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. Means some part of London, which is fashionable part of London, and in one of the streets there was a small shop of Mr. Gessler. The shop had a certain quite distinction. Distinction mean it has specific importance. It has some feature, a specific feature about it. What was that feature? There was no sign upon it other than the name of Gessler Brothers. Means there was of course a signboard in the front part of the shop, but it carried only two words, Gessler Brothers, and in the window a few pair of boots, and in the window there were a few pairs of boots kept to be seen by the beholders. He made only what was ordered. He did not make extra boots, he made only what was ordered. And what he made never failed to fit. It was a special feature of his boots. Whatever he made never failed to fit. To make boots, such boots as he made seemed to me then and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. To make such boots always seemed to me mysterious and wonderful. How he could make such wonderful boots, it was a mystery to me and perhaps for others also. It always seemed to me and still it seems to me a mystery and wonder. I remember well my shy remarks one day, while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Gessler? And his answer given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard. It is an art. So narrator says, I can remember one of my remarks I had given to him when I was young. One day while I stretched out to him my youthful foot. I stretched out my foot to him so that he could take the measurement of my foot to make the shoes. But I had said, isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Gessler? It was my question. Is it not very hard for you to make such boots, Mr. Gessler? And his answer, given with a sudden smile, out of the redness of his beard. His beard was red, and out of the redness of that beard, a smile came out of his face, from his face, and he gave a sudden answer. He said, it is an art. It is an art. It is said in German accent. Okay, he was a German shoemaker and had settled in London. So he says it is an art and nothing else. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly. The narrator tells us he needed not visit him oftenly because once purchased boots, they lasted very long. Okay. Having something beyond the temporary, some essence of the boot. What is given? Having something. So his boots lasted very long. Having something beyond the temporary means his boots were not temporary. They were beyond the temporary. And they were having some essence of boot stitched. Something was there. There was some magic in his hands. He used to stitch boots in such a way that they lasted very long. So here you can see the picture of his shop, Gessler Brothers. It is merely written on the wall, not a signboard. And a window showing some boots and the narrator. Okay. Then what happened? One went in not as into most shops, but restfully as one enters a church. Entering his shop is not like entering other shops, but it was like restfully, means to enter a church restfully and sitting on the single wooden chair and waited. Means whosoever goes inside his shop, he had to go there as if one is going inside a church and sitting there on a single wooden chair, and one had to wait for his arrival. A guttural sound and the tip-tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without coat, a little bent in leather apron with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dream of boots. So what happened? When he would come down from the first floor, means when he would come down from upstairs, there was a guttural sound. It's a harsh and grating sound. Harsh sound would start coming that he is coming, and the tip-tap of his slippers. That is the sound being produced by the slippers, which beat the narrow wooden stairs. There were wooden stairs, and his slippers used to make noise, and that was tip-tap. And he would stand before one And when he would come down, he would stand before the customer without coat. He won't be wearing any coat. He was a little bent. He was a little bent, and he used to wear a leather apron with sleeves turned back, means the arms of the shirt were folded back. Blinking means eyes open and shut, open and shut. Blinking as if he was in some dream of boots, and he has been disturbed from his dream, and he comes there. And I would say, narrator is telling, I would say, how do you do, Mr. Gessler? How do you do means, how are you, Mr. Gessler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? Can you make for me a pair of Russian leather boots? Then what would he say? Without a word, he would leave me retiring whence he came, or into the other portion of the. So he would not speak any word, without a word, without speaking any other word, without speaking a word. He would leave me retiring whence he came. He would leave me all alone. I will have to wait, and he will go back, and then he will come back. Or into the other portion, he would go to the other portion of the shop. He would go to the other portion of the shop and would continue to rest in the wooden chair. I would, and the customer will have to wait for him to come back. I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Incense, it is a smell, and his trade is of shoemaking, so there would be the smell of leather. So inhale, you know, to take inside, to breathe, to take the air inside. The smell of leather is compared to the smell of incense in the church. So I had to inhale the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. He would come back with a piece of gold brown leather in his hand. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark. Looking at that piece of leather, he would say, "What a beautiful piece, what a beautiful piece." Means, what a beautiful piece, that piece of leather. When I too had admired it, and when I will also praise that piece of leather, he would speak again. Then he would say, "When do you want them? When do you want them?" And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." Means, as per your convenience, whenever you can make them, I will take them. And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight." Means fortnight after tomorrow. Fortnight is 15 days time. You can come 15 days after tomorrow. Or if he were his elder brother, I will ask my brother. And if it was his brother in his place, then he would say that I will ask my brother Gessler when you will get the boots. Then I would murmur. Murmuring, you know, whispering to say something which is inaudible. Then I would murmur, "Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gessler." "Good morning," he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand. He would reply, but he would be looking at the leather in his hand. And as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip-tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. And then I will leave his room and move to the door. I could hear that he is going upstairs, and again there was sound of tip-tap of his slippers, and he was going back to a dream of boots. So here is the picture given of Mr. Gessler, a little bent, a piece of brown leather in his hand. He is wearing apron, and his sleeves are folded. He is half-sleeved, and narrator is there to give the measurement of his foot so that Mr. Gessler could make him Russian boots. And here you can see upstairs. When one goes When one climbs the stairs, it is called upstairs. When one comes down, it is downstairs. Okay. Now, I cannot forget the day on which I had occasion to say to him. Narrator says, once I got an opportunity to talk to him. I cannot forget the day. Mr. Gessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know. I complained to him that, Mr. Gessler, I had purchased a pair of boots from you and it has started creaking. Creaking is making sound. The boots I purchased from you, they have started making sound. He looked at me for a time without replying. He kept on looking at me. He did not reply, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement. He was looking at me, expecting that I should take my words back or I should prove it, qualify the statement. Then he said, it should not have creaked. It should not have creaked. Means it should not have creaked. My shoes cannot creak. It did, I am afraid. The narrator said, no, sir. Boots creaked. You got them wet before they found themselves. That means you got them wet, W-E-T, before they found themselves. You could have wet them. I don't think so, narrator said. I haven't. And that he lowered his eyes. At that, when I said I don't think so, he lowered his eyes as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. Send them back, he said. I will look at them. Then he started memorizing those boots which he had given to him, and he probably might be trying to know the reason of creaking. So that is why he lowered his eyes and he started searching. He started memorizing those boots, and I was very sorry, narrator says. I had mentioned this grave thing means this serious thing. I should not have said so. But he said, send them back. Send them back means send that pair of boots back. He said, I will look at them. I will see them. Some woods, he continued slowly, are bad from birth. If I can do nodding with them, I take them out of your bill. It means some boots are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill. He said some boots are made right from the beginning. They are made bad. Some boots are very bad right from their birth. When they are made, they are bad from the birth itself. And I will see them, and if I could do nothing with them, then I will refund you. I will take them off your bill. I will give you your money back. Once only, in bracket you can see, I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots, bought in an emergency at some large firm. Only once it had happened, because I had told him that the boot given by him, they have started creaking. So he had asked them to send back. So I just wanted to give him back. And what did I do? I absent-mindedly take another pair of boots which I had purchased in an emergency from some large firm, from some large factory. Means that pair of boots was not made by him. I had taken them to him absent-mindedly. I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather. And when I had purchased those boots, I was not shown any leather. and now I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my boot. Of my foot. At last he said, "Those are not my boots." So when I reached him, his eyes penetrated, means you can see through. Okay, as if मतलब नजर आर पार हो जाना. Penetrating. I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot, and feet are covered with the boots. Means the boots I was wearing at that time, they had been very inferior according to him, and his eyes were penetrating these inferior boots. And at last he said, "Those are not my boots. These boots have not been made by me." The tone was not one of anger, not of sorrow, not even of contempt, but there was in it something quite that froze the blood. Means when he spoke those words, "Those are not my boots," the tone was not of any anger, and it was also not of any sorrow. It was not even of any hatred, contempt. But there was something in his tone that could freeze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left foot was not quite comfortable. He immediately put his hand down and pressed with his finger. What is pressed? A particular place of the boots. It was of left foot. At a particular place of left foot, he pressed his finger, and that was the very place which was uncomfortable for me, which was not quite comfortable for me. Means he immediately indicated the problem where it was arising in the boot. He said, "It hurts you there," he said. Means it hurts you there. This is the place where the boots hurt you. Those big firms have no self-respect. Means those big firms have no self-respect. They don't do their work properly, and their boots are not properly made. This was what he wanted to say. And then, as if something had given way within him, and then something had happened inside him, he spoke long and bitterly. He spoke a lot. He spoke for a long time, and he was very bitter about those big firms. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade. It was for the first time on that very day that I heard him discussing his own condition as well as the hardships of his trade, meaning the difficulties he has to face in his trade. Okay, dear students, so I will stop here for today. It is already a lecture of 23 minutes. You have to watch this video, as well as you have to read the text of this part we have discussed, as well as you can also read the text of the other part which we will be discussing in the next video. Try to understand what is given. When you read, you have to read with understanding. And if you find any problem in your understanding, then you may contact me. Okay, till then, stay safe, stay home, keep doing your work, and stay happy. Thank you very much.